With me, I have the brand new Galaxy Z Fold 4, and welcome to your gaming video on this bad boy. Now, the Z Fold 4 is an update to the Z Fold 3, and it's brought in some really new and unique features. And before we go ahead, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor of this video, Spigen, who are also a channel sponsor. You guys know we love to use their cases and the accessories, so stay tuned because I have a few things new from them that was showcased in this video. So, the brand new Galaxy Z Fold 4. If this is your first time looking at a foldable, Samsung was the one that started the foldable trend, and the Z Fold 4 looks very similar to the Z Fold 3. Now, in terms of new changes, Samsung says they've improved the hinge to make it smaller, and it does look kind of smaller there, but it still looks very similar. And the cover display is also slightly wider. It's all in millimeters. I could give you the numbers. Now, the cover display is 6.2 inches, but when you open it up, you do get, of course, the main display, which is 7.6 inches and does feel a little wider when using the game. It doesn't feel as cramped, so when I'm moving around or on screen while I'm gaming, that feels really smooth. Now, that display is 120 hertz. Of course, it's got adaptive refresh rate on there, so allowing you to go from, of course, 1 hertz to 120 and take full advantage of that while gaming. This device is powered by the brand new Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Now, we've seen this in other devices, and Snapdragon has really done a lot to improve on this piece of hardware, which is great to see in the Fold because thought maybe Samsung might not put it in this device. Something that, hey, they might just skip. But hey, they said, look, we're going to put it here because we want some performance and want to see it push through. And that is backed by 12 gigs of RAM, and this starts at 256 gigabytes of storage. Now, speaking of charging, this does fast charging up to 15 watts for wireless charging and 25 watts for fast charging. As you expect, Samsung doesn't provide any charging within the box, so there's no charger, which is why it comes into play, and that is Spigen with their ArcStation charger. It's a 27 watt charger, and this works perfectly for your Galaxy Z Fold 4. It's a USB Type-C charger, very small, it's super portable, and that, of course, you can take with you anywhere. And they've also got a wireless charging stand specifically built to accommodate the Galaxy Z Fold 4, whether it's upright or sideways. It's the arc-filled wireless charger, and this is built for this device to take advantage of it. The maximum charging wattage is 15 watts, so if you've got a Galaxy Z Fold, this is perfect for you. Again, the stand is nice. It's got a really nice build to it, and it also comes in a really long cable, so you can place it anywhere around your desk or within your home. So I definitely love those two, and I think it's definitely necessary when you're using this device. So let's go into, of course, some of that gaming as we would expect, right? And the first game that takes full advantage of that actually is Call of Duty Mobile. So we fired out Call of Duty Mobile, and it has the ultra mode. Basically, this allows you to exceed that 60 frames per second cap, and we got about 88 frames per second while playing Call of Duty Mobile, which was great. It's something you don't usually get. I'm glad to see it here, and I was able to enjoy that. You saw this just looked really smooth. Now, granted, I didn't resize my control layout, but it was a nice gameplay experience. And confirming, of course, with Game Bench, we got 88 frames per second. Now, when we move over to, of course, Apex Legends, we're still getting about 40 frames per second on the, of course, standard gameplay mode. We can, of course, get slightly higher up to 60, but we got a solid 40 frames per second, and this is very indicative of what we're seeing with Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, and also Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 as well. I'm sure there'll be some more fine-tuning with this, but the game ran smooth, pretty well. I had to stop because I couldn't actually finish my gameplay session for this game. Now, when we move over to PUBG Mobile again, looking at the two gameplay modes we usually play. Ultra HD Ultra, we got a solid 40 frames per second, and game played well and pretty smooth. And then when we played on Smooth Extreme, we got a solid 60 frames per second in there as well. So which means, again, the games you like to play, you're going to get that kind of performance and gameplay. going over to Genshin Impact. This is a game, of course, that we know is poorly optimized, and we've seen different readings. And of course, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 does a better job on this. Now, in about 25 minutes of gameplay, we got about 45 frames per second. For the first 10 minutes of gameplay, we got about 55 to 58 frames per second. So it's still stat high, but this is where we decided to do our temperature checks. Now, while gaming, playing Genshin Impact, we're getting temperatures up to 110 degrees on the backside close to the camera, while we're getting about 105 degrees on screen. So that was running rather hard. And again, Samsung used to lead the area in cooling, and I am quite disappointed here because honestly, the OnePlus 10T did a much better job in cooling its device at temperatures lower than 110. I think it was about 106 or so compared to this. Now, while we're playing the other games I mentioned earlier, we're getting temperatures of between 95 to 99 degrees. So again, Genshin, of course, is something that pushes it, but we're not really happy with the cooling we're seeing right here. So when you have a device like the Galaxy Z Fold 4, you've got a huge, massive real estate for you to do a lot of gaming on, right? Which is pretty cool. But can you do more things than game at the same time? Now, you've got different options here. You've got the ability to actually open up your games as a pop-up, so you can actually use your screen to do something else. Now, of course, this will be more beneficial if you're using, say, a Bluetooth controller to game. That will make the most amount of sense. Or you can also do split screen as well. So I can open up Twitter and have PUBG playing. But again, you're going to either have to use a Bluetooth controller or you can resize it. But that gives you the opportunity to have multiple things going on at the same time. The one thing we'll note that the split screen is split from left to right, not top to bottom. So you will have to slide the slider either way to actually expand or decrease the screen size for what you're trying to do. Now, of course, the feature is still there to switch over to cover display. You can game on the cover display, and some games will allow you to actually start within the main display and switch over to the cover display, which is nice. So games like PUBG will do that, and I believe Genshin Impact also does that. Not every game supports that feature, but it's something there. And the cover display feels a bit more comfortable this time around, so that's actually pretty good. Now, speaking of discomfort and feel, the device feels a little slimmer and lighter, just while you're holding it either closed or open. Now, one more thing we definitely have to look at, of course, or actually listen to, is the audio from this device. Now, the Z Fold 4 comes with stereo speakers, and these are two bottom-firing speakers on either side, which is great, which means they're definitely louder. So let's go ahead and listen to some gameplay clips. Round 1, beginning the countdown. Now, not to worry, guys, we also have game streaming services, and we all know Xbox Game Pass is on every device. And of course, it runs pretty well on here. Now, I was using my knock-on controller. If you guys want to check it out, I have a link for you guys down below. But it's a great way to actually go ahead and jump in a game. And this works really well, as you would expect. So if you're just thinking about game streaming services, Xbox Game Pass works well.